The living room, where the family meets to discuss issues, any issue which may be bothering one of the family members. That's what we do each and every Tuesday on WACK 90.1 FM with Ricardo Mitchell and DJ Aaron 868. We have casual conversations on serious topics, from sports to culture, mental health to economics, relationships to life lessons. Join us each and every Tuesday on WACK 90.1 FM. The living room, casual conversations on serious topics.
It is now 6 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I'm glad to know you're locked on to the True Nation station where we are
culture crazy.
First and foremost, let's kick this off as we always do. All right? Must give thanks and praises to the Almighty for granting us the gift of life and seeing another day. No matter what time of day it is, you must always
give thanks.
Secondly, we must say thank you to those that went before us, and we are not just talking about our ancestors, the original inhabitants of Trinidad and Tobago, because we all know, accept, reiterate, and say it with the chest that Columbus lied, but also to a brother in music, Tony P, and the P this week stands for
PR era. PR, public relations.
I would say preparedness.
You know what? Let's go with that.
No, I like public relations, but I think the two could work in tandem this week.
Well, let me put it this way. Lack of one look like it might. Anyway, I'm listening. Why you say that, Aaron? This is me actively listening.
For me, why I chose preparedness as the word is like five-fold. One, I am in no way packed already to go to Tobago.
Right.
I am ill-prepared.
Ill-prepared.
I am in no way prepared should any form of natural disaster hit Trinidad and Tobago. The other day, my tank was overflowing in the backyard. I must say, as I said, my tank overflowing, for some reason, I used to get water twice a week.
Right.
I've been getting water every single day for the past 3 weeks or so.
Okay. So
right?
Winning then.
Yeah, winning in some form or fashion, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here the catch. So my tank was overflowing, so I said, "Barry, I'm going to go and turn it off." This was about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And I flip on my torchlight. Nothing.
Batteries DED.
Batteries dead.
Mm-hmm.
So, as I get by, I need to buy some batteries. So, I'm ill prepared also for any form of natural disaster to hit our country because I don't have batteries in my torchlight.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't have because I'm not packed for Tobago, I also realize I'm not packed to run in the case of an emergency as well. I don't have a go bag prepared.
A boogie bag, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the other thing, right? I don't know how many people are paying attention to what is taking place in LA recently.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So in addition to any natural disaster, I'm also not prepared for any kind of man-inflicted or man-made incident or disaster.
Yeah.
And lastly, one of the things in life that, and I'm going to be totally transparent here with the listeners, one of the things in life is when you're making that a step into our next chapter. You just have to prepare yourself for certain things.
Mm-hmm.
This weekend I went to a store up on the east and I bought a piece of furniture. And I elected to take the self-construct option.
No, why? Anyway, this is me listening, actively listening.
And I say, you know what, I'm going to try to construct this bedside table by myself.
Nice, man.
So Sunday night, I got home and I was like, you know what, basketball going on, let me try to build this table. They said you needed 3 tools. A flathead screwdriver, a Phillips head screwdriver, and a hammer.
Right.
If you see, I screw everything that had to screw.
Yeah. Like the Oli run.
Wow. Wow.
What?
Wow.
What?
But in looking the things that the nails that I had to pong in the back, brother man, I pick up my hammer, and you know in them cartoons you'll pick up your hammer, and you will go to pull, and then the hammer will be going, the head of the hammer going so, but the arm going so. That is exactly what happened.
Right.
So I was left with no choice. I had to go and buy a hammer yesterday.
Nice, man.
In addition to the hammer, I also had to go and buy paintbrushes, because the paintbrushes that I had, the hard one. So why preparedness is my mood? Natural disasters,
right?
Man-made disasters, and also
and new season.
New season. So
right.
And it's just so fitting. Preparedness is also fitting of the month that we are in, Men's Mental Health Month. And as men, we have to prepare to be in the best mental shape. So I know social media, and I feel like I'm monologuing today. I feel like take Cardo role.
Hey, do your thing.
But I know there are lots of posts circulating on social media that start with the phrase, "It's men's mental health," and no one is talking about it. Always stop that stupidness. The reason why you think nobody talking about it is because you're listening to the wrong things.
Is none of the algorithm suppressing this type of dialogue?
Because it popping up on my feed very regularly.
Okay.
But remember, as a man, carefully curate my social media space.
So you telling people to stop expressing their experience because it's not your own?
No, I am not saying that.
You sure? Because it sounds exactly like that's what it is you say.
That is definitely not what I'm saying.
It sounded like you said, stop saying it because that don't happen to you.
No, what I'm saying is, stop allowing that to be your norm.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Stop allowing that to be your norm. If you want mental health conversations to happen, start having them.
But that is literally what you see the conversation starting with. That people saying that people not having the conversations. It sounds like they're starting the conversations that you're telling them to start.
If you don't understand or you don't know the program you're listening to by now, this is the living room with yours truly, Aaron 868. I remind each and every time that culture is my code, and I sit here alongside my miserable as ever bro with no fro, a lot of flow, always on the go and in the know.
Ricardo Mitchell, the social sage on the global stage.
Who apparently did not have his coffee today.
I did not. I am a couple of... No, I had coffee. But I had it so long ago, it's probably like I didn't have it. I'm sorry.
It's like those chocolate covered bar ads. Here, have a chocolate covered bar.
Oh,
and then
all right,
you see a totally different person.
I get you. Yeah, it does happen. Yeah, I know I'm being miserable, but and this is me contrasting your expression and experience with my own, which is the thing that I'm actually needling you for. I have become aware that in my attempts to hold people and situations accountable, in my attempts to be constructive, that sometimes I critique the solutions. I don't have enough grace because people are trying. There are people who are trying to do some of the things that we're talking about doing. And I've realized that they're not going to get it right until they learn how to do it. And so I'm seeing that from, it's a little bit of miserable, it's a little bit of provocative, but it is in full transparency. Me trying to extend a sense of grace, even though I'm giving you trouble, because I do recognize that there are people are trying. Like, all talks aside, people are trying, and not because you're trying something means you're going to get it right. It doesn't mean that you're going to be perfect at it. It doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes. And that actually lends itself to one of the challenges that men have. Sometimes we are trying, but because the result is not what is expected, the criticism, the critique, the pushback is like when them dog and them pee on your carpet and you hold the nose in it to see how bad a mistake they make and then you beat them for it. A lot of the times we critique effort because we're not getting result, and that don't help the effort.
Or we critique effort because the result doesn't look like what society wants the result to look like.
Yeah.
Because we have to face it in the essence of the issue that your journey or your road to recovery wouldn't look like mine. So Ricardo could go normal and do 100 push-ups.
Normal.
And then I could go and do 100 push-ups, but we body not going to look the same after.
Nope.
But you know what? But you know is the important thing to notice or note is that we did the 100 push-ups.
Bro, you could do 7. I'm glad that you tried because you probably do 7 more than the day before. That's what I'm saying. Like we don't recognize effort. We reward results.
Why should I recognize effort?
Because you want it to continue. You want it to continue.
So the message that we're trying to put across here in the first thing that we're discussing is that effort and consistency is more important than the end result.
Not more important than. But it
as important as.
It is as important because it's an indicator of trajectory. It's an indicator that something that was not happening before is happening now, and that change is possible even if not present.
You know.
Yeah, profound.
Sometimes.
And modest.
Clearly, one of the things that I had embarked on earlier this year, I think I started in April, was I went on a 90-day exercise challenge.
Yeah.
Right, and I would tweet day by day what I would be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, as usual with me, I would fall off on the active journaling or documenting of it.
Right.
And I would have done it after a period of time, right? And when I looked at my health app on my phone, I realized that in the last, now it'll be nine weeks or thereabout, I would have exercised 3 to 4 times per week.
All right.
When compared to the previous 9 weeks when I was just exercising once or twice for the week.
Right. So you safely doubled your effort.
Yeah. Now, I am upset with myself because the goal I set out at the start of my 90-day period was I need to exercise 5 to 6 days per week.
Right. Ooh, we could have a conversation.
I felt short of that.
Yeah.
But it is still an improvement on what I was doing before. Now, part of me is happy.
Right.
But there's another part of me that still bemoans myself because I did not achieve my goal.
No. Listening.
Am I happy that I'm moving more? Yes. Am I not just, I'm not really seeing the result, but am I feeling the results? Yes. And why I say yes, and again, is Men's Mental Health Month. And this is a place where I think I like to be transparent with listeners and the viewers. Because if I can't tell a story about myself that could make somebody feel better about where they are along their journey, why I even bother? Right? When I started, I used to struggle on a morning to walk 3 kilometers.
No, I understand that you say you wasn't getting water, but you can't tell me that you had no standpipes in the neighborhood you run. 3 kilometers?
Yeah.
Is water you're going for? Toast and bucket?
No.
For fun?
Yeah.
So, like, this was just exercise for exercising's sake?
Yeah.
Alright, bro. Hear you. I'm listening.
I used to struggle to do 3 kilometers. And why I realize that now is because me being kind of clumsy at times, I choose a hilly course.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Over the times, that hilly course became easier.
Right.
And then one day I pick up myself and I was like, you know what? Let me try it on a flat course. The same length of time it was taking me to do that 3 kilometers, I was able to do 4.5.
Right. Excellent.
And then I started, the morning 3 kilometers became 4, then it became 5.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Right? And it was, again, is the effort, constantly pushing yourself, constantly doing it to make sure that the body is getting accustomed to the movement. And now, I used to struggle to run a full third in fet matches.
Mm-hmm.
I play a full third easy now.
And were you playing any better, or is the same? Anyway,
whoa. That was not the. You see why I don't tell anecdotes and thing here, boy?
This is me listening. You could run the full third. I listen.
I run in the full third.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. You have gas in the tank now.
I have gas in the tank. So I using fitness, physical fitness as the example here. But physical fitness ties in with the emotional fitness.
Right.
Because now, in situations where I would have gotten upset with myself because I was not able to physically do something, I'm able now to manage the emotions better. And then I translate that managing of emotions better from the fitness aspect to the other aspects of life.
Okay. Well, I am curious though. The emotions, only bear with me, I wake up this morning in one of them zones. So, I am extra today.
As usual.
Are you, thank you. Are you managing the emotions better, or you're having different emotions?
I am managing them better because some of the emotions have not changed.
Right. So you're still frustrated with things that you can't do?
Yeah.
We just, why are you managing them better then?
Because, for me, I think I should be able to do more.
Right, so we've introduced expectation. Okay,
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So, because again, and this is as real as these situations get. The social media fitness people, they tell you about certain ages you're supposed to be able to do certain things now.
Oh, okay, all right. So now we've introduced comparison. Go ahead.
Right, and we all know comparison is the thief of joy.
Listening. Mm-hmm.
Right? So the expectation that I almost reaching to 40, I should be able to do 40 push-ups comfortable.
Yeah.
And well, I used to struggle to do 40. Now I'm pushing my 50 and then normal.
Norms. Mm-hmm. I wish I could find the episodes where I was giving you thunder and telling you. Anyway, I just saying that you being able to knock out 50 push-ups. Let me put it this way: there was an Aaron that would not have believed that this Aaron was possible.
No, and that's the thing. And I like to use myself as the example because you like to use you as the example?
No, I like to use you as the example. But
wow.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think it was in 2022 thereabout, I was struggling to do 2 push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had shoulder issues.
Yes, correct. Mm-hmm. From breaks and fall in our football. Mm-hmm.
Not breaks and I fall. I fell in football. I fell, yeah. But now I push in 45, 50 push-ups normal because I consistently worked at it. I still like Leonard from Big Bang. I can't do a pull-up yet.
Pull-ups considerably more complicated. Don't get up for that.
But the thing is, if you want to improve at something, set a goal and work consistently on the goal.
So let's add some dynamics to this thing. Because for the listeners who stayed on when they realized we came on, God bless all. Right, so big up the Michael Smiths and the Ingrids and the Gail from Boston and
After
Dr.
Ingrid said
Cheese
you
and
favorite, I no longer supporting Ingrid.
Yeah, I remember. Right, Ingrid know you longer, so she had to favor me a little bit, so to balance the scales. Right, it's a time versus energy thing. Don't worry, there's a chart. I'll pull it up. I wouldn't pull it up. Anyway,
I know the chart of time versus
so
energy.
what happens is the S on my chest right now is for satisfaction. It's for satisfaction. I want to introduce satisfaction to the equation that you present, Aaron. And the reason I was talking about things like expectation and comparison, etc., is because one of the reasons we in the pickle we in is because we don't identify satisfaction as being our motivation for doing things. We look at results, but we fail to realize that the results produce satisfaction or dissatisfaction. So case in point, one of the reasons you've encountered a sense of disappointment with yourself, regardless of having doubled your exercise output, is because you set expectation that might have been a bit unrealistic. You are talking about going from 1 or 2 times a week to tripling or quadrupling that. With what input, what additional input? Because while you might have made time, you forget that there is energy required, right? In terms of how much you're going to be sleeping, how much you're going to be consuming, in terms of breakfast, healthy lunches and dinners, if dinners at all. Have you considered just the overall wear and tear of quadrupling, tripling or quadrupling your exercise? So we're talking about recovery in terms of muscle soreness and fatigue, right? Just the actual biological factors that are going to contribute to you being able to do this thing or not. So instead of having 100% satisfaction with obtaining and surpassing a realistic goal, now we have to introduce dissatisfaction because the goal was a bit unrealistic or at least unsustainable to begin with. So it's almost as if you know the meme where the guy riding the bike and he chucked the stick in it and then blaming the stick for falling. You started with you introduced an expectation that would have been difficult to attain and maintain. And we do that. We decide, listen, I am never going to drink again. And then we beat up ourselves because we end up taking a drink. Versus saying, hey, listen, I need to cut down on my drinking and work towards that. So what we do now, we have to manage shame, guilt, and failure instead of being able to derive satisfaction and use that satisfaction to continue pursuing another goal.
Because what I'm hearing there as well is to break up your goal into smaller goals.
Bite size. Old African proverb says, how do you eat an entire elephant? 1 bite at a time.
Firstly, you shouldn't be eating an elephant, but cool.
That's a pretty good point.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good point. And to be honest with you, I'm starting to wonder if it is an old African proverb because I don't really recall too many people eating elephants. But anyway,
correct is right.
Maybe it's just one of those things that they say it was African because there are elephants involved. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Right. So what I had to say there is one of the things like for me I struggle with is those bite-sized goals.
Mm-hmm.
I see the big goal.
Right.
I'm not looking at the steps along the way. So one thing I'll encourage anybody to do is break up your goals. If you want to lose 30 pounds, set smaller goals. I want to lose 2 pounds by this month then. Or I want to do 2 pounds a month for the next 15 months. Don't go on no crash diet earlier. I tell you no, don't go on no crash diet because 1, as we just established, it hard to maintain, and 2, it ain't healthy. Right? If you want to stop drinking, cut down. You're accustomed drinking 5 days a week. Let me do 4 this month, then 3, then 2, then 1. If you're a man that smoke, and you're smoking a pack a day, let me go down to 3/4 pack, then half, then 5. Find a point that you comfortable with, that you, because I am not advocating to tell anybody to stop smoking, need to stop drinking. That is not my rule in your life. All I'm saying is, if you decide you want to decrease, do it gradually.
No, again, some people
cold
turkey and them kind of
I'm not gonna say cold turkey could work for some people.
Right.
But find the method that works for you.
Oh.
And also if the doctor tell you stop, go cold turkey and stop now. Come on.
You might want to stop before it stops you.
Yeah.
One of the other things I wanted to introduce into that story, that testimony that you shared with us, is the concept of context. Right? A lot of the times we look at facts and figures and information and we do apply context.
What's that, right?
You were walking 3 kilometers on a morning in a particular time frame. And if you told somebody that is how long it takes you to walk 3 kilometers, they might be either impressed or unimpressed. Now, if there was somebody who wasn't walking at all and they hear you walking 3 kilometers, they'll be like, "Wait, you walking 3 kilometers every morning?" If it's somebody who running a 10K before they go to work, they might encourage you, but I don't know how impressed they would be. So context matters.
10K.
Right? You don't wish you could do a 10K. But the idea is, what you're going to do for your birthday? Wish you could do a 10K? If you find a lamp, you're going to say, "I wish I could"? No, that's not a real wish, Aaron. That's something that you would like to do. And there are ways to get it done. We need to stop using language so irresponsibly. If you tell me you find a genie, you're going to wish you could have run a 10K. You just waste a wish day. You could make that happen without wishing. So anyway, that's for somebody. I don't know who it is. God bless you. Stop wishing for things that you could get up and do. Anyway, so the thing with context is, however, you might have been dissatisfied with the time it taken you to walk 3 kilometers until it changed the context. You walking 3 kilometers uphill. I mean, okay, maybe 1.5 uphill. Presume the other half would be back downhill. But the other thing, so it was 3 kilometers one way. How you getting back home after you walk 3 kilometers one way uphill? You was walking uphill both ways? You walking uphill both ways. You know what, bro? Cool. I hear you. I used to have to fight 2 lions to go to school in the morning.
You like that old people now.
When you walking uphill both ways, how you walking uphill coming and going? Anyway.
Brother man, because of the topography of the land where I was walking.
You know what a Mobius strip is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to figure out how this whole thing could be uphill. Anyway, minding my business. You now start doing the exact same thing on a level playing field. See what I did there? And you were able to do more. Because you change the context, you get different results. And because you get different results, you feel a greater sense of satisfaction. Sometimes, and this is straight wisdom, sometimes we're doing the right thing in the wrong places. That's just life. If you're doing something and you find you're wondering why it's not working, you're not getting the satisfaction, you're not getting the results, maybe it's the right thing and in the wrong place or at the wrong time. It has some plants that are water in the morning, some that are water in the evening. Some that are water every day, some that do other water weekly. The bottom line is that context matters. You might be doing something and you're frustrated, and it don't necessarily mean you're doing the wrong thing. You might just be doing the right thing in the wrong way or the wrong place. Right? So I'm talking this because these are actual write it down, go home with it, mental health tips. Because yes, sleep better, eat better, exercise, talk to a professional, etc. We've been advocating for those things all the time and we'll continue to do so. But in terms of the internal dialogue that we have, the conversations we have with ourselves about how we're feeling and what we're doing, I want to start to address some of those things too. And I don't think people understand how important satisfaction is to their life.
I also don't think people understand how important grace is within these processes.
Hey, boy.
And not grace as in the canned food product.
Although, if all you're listening and all you would like to sponsor or advertise on WACK, hit us up. What's the number for the office?
6529774.
Okay, cool. Good.
Right. One of the things, and I'll talk about satisfaction first. I think it was Good Friday morning. I woke up and I decided to go on the flat surface. And when I started the morning walk, the first part was a downhill. So I say, you know what? I'll jog the downhill because it's natural momentum. And wherever it stops, the run, I would stop. I find after the downhill, I'm still running. I reach a 4-road junction, watch left, watch right, continue jogging, and then my watch vibrated on my wrist. And that was 1 kilometer at 7 minutes and 12 seconds. And then I stopped jogging at that point because the burst of endorphins and happiness that I felt to see 7 minutes and 12 seconds for a kilometer compared to the usual 9.5 to 10 minutes I was doing before. I just couldn't contain it.
Right.
Now, the other 3 kilometers that I did was around 9 to 9.5 minutes that day in the hot blazing sun.
Right.
Which, again, I don't know how when I was younger, we used to be playing football 9 o'clock in the morning. Anyhow.
Only ones who were younger and fresher, we didn't need as much energy to maintain systems. I don't know.
Right, I don't know what it is, but we used to do it. And when I finished that run that morning, I lay on the ground in my gallery and I was like, you did good. And thereafter...
Technically you did well, but okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. You did well. You did good. You know what? You did good for your body. You did good for your body.
You know what's the messed up part in all of this? So when you're talking to yourself, you need to talk to yourself in proper English too.
Yes, not proper English, correctly. There's a difference. What's proper English, right? There's Trinidadian English, there's UK English, there's different kinds of English, right? What I'm saying is correctly. Our brains don't know when we're joking. They don't know when we're imagining. The language that we use is important, Aaron. It is important. We know that. That's why we ask people, how are you versus just what is he seeing. The language is important. What are you actually telling yourself? And it is. That's a slang too. What are you telling yourself?
What are you telling yourself?
What I see. So I was kidding about the good and well thing. It was an opportunity for a joke. It was low-hanging fruit. It was a little needle while, we're being so productive. Great, all well and good. But it was also deliberate. It was deliberate, right? Communication has rhythms. And sometimes you have to stoke and influence the rhythm. If we get too serious for too long, attention wanes. You're chucking a little, you do something to change the tempo, attention regained. And it is heavy stuff, you want people to enjoy it,
But since we change in the wane, and
you call me Kenny, I heard you.
I know, but since we changed in the wane, where were you on Saturday night?
Where was I on Saturday night? I had to leave this. I was at Pleasantville Community Center for the setup of the David Matthews fundraiser. I was there for the setup, but I had to leave because I had a class the evening. So okay. I just came to do my part, which would have been to help, or could have get a little experience behind the scenes, and I would have liked to be able to stay, but I could not.
Okay.
But I was there when he got there. We didn't talk or anything like that, but at the end of the day, I was just there because I wanted to be there when I could have been there, and then I left.
Okay.
And then Sunday, I spent the entire evening in the company of one Mr. Kenny Phillips and team.
Don't boast about that.
Listen, this is not my boasting face. We were at Sundar.
Oh, you went Sundar. You did this Sundar.
Yeah, we did that.
You did the broadcast for Sundar.
Well, it was a recording more than a broadcast, yeah. And it was a fantastic production. I want to acknowledge Ari. They keep doing amazing work. Sundar was great. Sundar was great, and I also like the way that the production house is using these stories to instill and to ignite something positive within us as a people, as a culture, as a nation. So, yeah, that Sundar was fantastic stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, probably why I'm in such a pensive and profound zone this past couple of days, because as you know, when I go into these spaces, and it put me into a space, I'm thinking about thinking. I'm thinking about what things mean. I'm thinking about what we could do with it, how we could use it, how we could help people, where it come from, what it for. And it's Men's Mental Health Month, and we need as much help as we possibly could get. I ain't like to tell you, Aaron, we in a mess out here, you know. We in a mess. There's a lot of work to do, a lot of ground to cover. So I'm just grateful for the opportunity to be able to contribute to a positive dialogue and to be able to give one or two tips, because there's a thing that happens as well. As we get older, we start to think that things don't concern us. There's other people's problems, or I too old for this, or I done set in my ways and them kind of things. And I will tell you, and I think I spoke about it before, but well, your Father's Day coming up too, so it's probably an apt time. But my dad went for his first spa day, his first pedicure at 83.
Oh,
83 years old. He still had a new experience at 83. He still had about a self-care at 83. You know, it's not too late to have a new experience, or to do a new thing, or to learn how to treat yourself better than you've been treating yourself.
You see, and one of the things about it is, as you say, why learning that for, or I too old, or that thing, or I mean, that is not my cup of tea.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things we have to accept is, as we get older, our taste is supposed to grow as well.
You're going to reintroduce expectation again, but it's a reasonable one.
No, your taste is supposed to grow.
Yeah,
you can't be eating KFC every day at the age of 65.
No, hold on. That's not your taste. That's not your taste for it again. Eh? That is you might have the taste for it. Your capacity for it ain't going to be the same.
And I'm using that interchangeably in this example.
You're going to have, if you eat KFC every day, you're going to, sorry, I don't have courtrooms. What I'm saying is, in your 60s, if you're eating fried chicken every day, I ain't so sure you're interested in eating fried chicken in your 70s.
But and that's the thing. You had to understand that as you grow older, you need to grow a different level of respect and care for your body.
Mm-hmm.
Be it in your diet of what you eat, be it in your diet of what you drink, the diet of what you listen to, what you expose yourself to. I could proudly say one of the things that I have looked at from past Aaron to this current iteration of Aaron.
I love the fact that you pronounce iteration correctly.
Thank you.
I ain't gonna lie. Shed single tear. Go ahead.
All right, Terrence. One of the things that I have noticed is that the things I exposed myself to in my younger days no longer appeal to me or appease me in any way, form, or fashion. And it's because I also realized that I can't live the way I was living when I was 21.
Yes, Aaron. What I'm saying is that the things you expose yourself to as a younger man, you should definitely not be exposing yourself to as much as you were before. In fact, I strongly suggest that you only expose yourself to one thing going forward. And he not find it a good thing. What I'm saying, Aaron, it's just you know what? You're right. Your taste, your capacity, and your exposures.
Yes, have to. And the funny thing is, right? The other day I tried to do something I would have done when I was younger, right? I went online one night, and boy, oh boy, the next morning did I feel the effects of that. And it's not like I didn't go and drink profusely or anything of the sort. I went and played football. After the football, I went online. I had a couple drinks. I eat a burger. And the next morning was sank with jizz.
You call out a list of activities there that sound like a quarter for me, you know. Were you talking about that was a one day?
No, well, that brother man, I just saying I tried something that I used to do before.
You sweat, lime, you drink while it was liming, and jam a burger before you go into bed. You look for that. Yeah, the hair might be jet black, but nah.
You ain't seen the grays coming in never?
Oh, yeah, at least I'm not coming, eh?
Yeah,
I don't know what changed in the last year, but we really started coming
but
kind of way.
I know what changed in the last year.
Pick up the SOs, pick up the supervising officers and them.
But really and truly, you know, mental health is something that, and not just mental health as a whole, is something that we as men need to take a little more seriously.
You know, much better mental health will be if you have your health in check. As men, we are really quick to go to diagnose. We're not quick to go to doctors and to clinics and that type of thing. But worrying about your health could actually cause damage to your health.
Right. The other day, I had to go and I had to do a couple tests when I went to renew my health plan.
Yeah.
So they do the basic tests: the sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol. Right here now, if it's one test I just always fail is a pressure test under pressure. Meaning that if I have to go and do I just casually check my pressure, you might get like a 123 over 81. You're in good numbers.
Your phone talking. Great job, Aaron.
But once I know that pressure test is associated with a medical, sorry. So that morning I went and they do the cholesterol 170 something, sugar 93, pressure 134 over 84. I say, but everything good? The doctor watched me say, boss man, you need to work on that pressure, you know. I say, here what's going on? Give me 15 minutes and check it again.
Check it again, yeah.
119 over 78.
Yeah.
I say, brother man, here what's going on? Once I had to test my pressure under pressure, something does always be off.
Yeah.
So, fellas that have nothing wrong, go and get a checkup, see how things going, because what a lot of us as men this use as a gauge for if something wrong. And I'm going to quote a popular calypso by Puppet Master here. Once you see a boy can't stand up, that is when men just think water more than flour. Don't wait until something wrong down there for you to check all here.
Right. Thank God this is not a full screen camera thing, because if anybody asks for your point, I could tell them it was to your knee. I
point to the desk. It's our desk.
Oh, check the desk. Yeah. Check to make sure the desk is still desking.
Yeah, check to make sure the desk still stood, you know.
Yeah.
And I know termites and things.
Hey, I ain't leaving that right where it is. Too early in the afternoon. But man,
We said it's
guys.
7 o'clock. It's almost 7 o'clock.
Well, it's after 6, so it classifies as evening.
Yeah, and Mr. Desmond done here already too. So.
Oh, we perilously?
No, we're not perilously yet, but we're close.
Okay.
I hope Mr. Desmond a little more well prepared than me and packed already.
And Desmond look like a fella. He strikes me as someone who is meticulous, you know.
All I know is that he and Tony are cool beverage in Tobago.
All right.
Because we tried to have a cool one on Saturday, but they were lukewarm.
Oh no. You know what? Maybe let's hope that was because of how active the bar was.
Yeah, no, that is exactly what the issue was.
Yeah, things were selling out. Quick. Yeah.
And also, David, we real good at David. You know, we's good friends. We's great co-workers. But David, tell me, as soon as he see me Saturday, David tell me that my jersey was a little bit tight.
Oh dear.
I say, wait, boy. Clearly, all this exercising not working.
No, it's not that, right? You see exercising in the clothes that you're wearing, so the clothes getting small too. That's what I've been telling myself. Hey.
And this week, we purposely try to stay away from current events, because...
Yeah,
boy.
Listen, hey, you know what? It's a good thing we went down your road on that, man. Because that PR thing, Aaron, I would actually rephrase PR and go with political unrest, because listen, leadership mismanagement is causing a lot of people a lot of concern across the globe. Alright, so let me answer.
That's why I made mention of that LA thing, because I was taking a look at it on Monday on Twitter, well, X, and I was like, wait, but this thing escalated quickly.
Well, that is what X is about. You didn't see what happened between Elon and the Don?
That was a nice one, and it's still going on.
A man said nice. No, I don't think that scary, you know.
No, the possible fallout from that is a real serious thing, you know.
Then,
according to somebody, you see a relationship going sour right in front of your face.
And this man is, a lot of the world's communication is influenced by what he could and would do.
Even
WACK
broadcast and all too.
I'm trying to explain to you, you know, the reach that this man have. I don't think people understand how important media and communications has been to world history.
Without it, we'll be in the dark, you know.
The printing press was one of the most important inventions in human history. You see, being able to not just get information across, but to get the information that you want across, there's a reason that in all dictatorships, the first thing that they go after is
communication.
Yep.
Even in war, the first thing that
military
they try
strategy,
to communication. Either you dismantle first or you establish first.
Yeah, correct. And those principles apply in a relationship. One of the first things that will be communication.
Right.
One of the first things that will be communication. And that's why there's a lot out there that is positive in social media spaces. Just wisdom is on every street corner this last round. I see people asking kids not questions like, how was your day anymore? They realize, how was school? Good. You go in your room. Or you go and you do your homework or whatever. They're advising to ask kids like specific questions. So, you know, was there any subject that challenged you today? Were you able to help anybody with anything? Who were you nice to before you got like pointed questions to move kids out of, you know, rote and repetitive communication styles? I've said it. This could have been. It was still at work, so we're talking about carry one, it could be 8 years or more, right? We have moved from the information age to the communication age, because it's not even about actual information anymore. Information there, but communication is the age that we are in right now. And let's put it this way, Aaron, your kids in the future, whatever Ricardo, Williams, or Richard, I'll take Richard as a middle name. Whatever, your kids not going to be using as many vowels as we're using in official communication. You understand how wild that's going to be? It's like the way things are going to change. It's going to be, it's going to seem absurd to us, and it's going to be very normal for them. And as being in the space to watch those things happening, we have to recognize the impact that communication has on behavior. Right? In terms of mental health, I'm just going to point out to you guys before we start wrapping up that there have been correlations, not saying there's cause, but there have been correlations between the growth and use of the internet and the growth and use of social media and the rate at which teenagers are committing or attempting suicide. They've been, like, we've moved past information now. And a lot of what is happening is that these kids are being overstimulated, they're under-communicative, and they're not able to manage a lot of the things that they're dealing with. And we're looking at them as being lesser than or weaker than, not realizing that they're managing information that is 10 and 20, far more than we would have
what we would have managed at their age, yeah.
Right? Before the system's calibrated properly. So I'm just saying, yeah, we're talking mental health and things too, but it's not just men's mental health. There are young men out there who are struggling. And those young men who are struggling are going to grow up to become older men that's struggling.
Struggling more.
And the environments that they are part of going to suffer because they're struggling. Right? So, very good. Where you can. That's very good. Do what you can.
Now be perilously close to the hour 7, and I feel like I'm going to put Ricardo on the spot here. So Ricardo,
possible.
Yeah, of course. For those, well, I say it here, we are going on. There's a period in July that are going on vacation. So I think for that period in July, Ricardo, you're picking up the living room by yourself for that time, or?
Hey, Mr. Williams, you ain't saying nothing yet.
You know what? I'm going to come back and meet a totally different space, and I'm also going to come back and realize that I am no longer part of this program.
Wait, no. I ain't gonna do that, Aaron. We go find a place for you. We call it the yard or something under the street light.
You are kicking mouth, you know. That is what's going on.
by the red step. Well, we do now. Don't worry, man. I can hold it on for you. You ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, because just saying it one time.
You know what the joy in this is, Aaron? We've prepared for things like this. We've prepared for this. I'm pretty certain that we could get Richard Williams, aka Willie with Hawaii, to do a session with me. We could probably ask DT.
And the man replacing me
with a
Williams too.
Yeah. Right? We want wait to say too, but you had to make the change in increments. So we could change one name and then we could change the next one. Right? But I'm pretty certain we could get some guests. Some guest contributors. Yeah. How long are you going on vacation for?
I think 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
3 Tuesdays? Yeah, man. See if we can get friends to come in. Willie and maybe DT, the old dinner tanku, and knock that out there. And just to spice it up, I actually gonna bring in I'm gonna see if I could bring in a couple other people too. I'll see if Joash wanna come back in. In fact, I'll probably have Joash with me and we interview those guys to see what they've been up to.
Yeah, man, replace him.
Hey, Aaron, it's not replacing, bro. It's not replacing. It's succession planning. You never know. Your godfather might have bigger things in store for you than this. I'm not even close. I'm just not going to comment on the fact that not once was I invited to Tobago. But anyway, moving on.
Kenny didn't invite you?
Moving on.
Wait. Kenny didn't invite you?
On.
Kenny didn't invite you?
I heard about Tobago when the ads were playing.
Me too.
But only talk about it after.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah. But then again,
Hey,
it's cool. Yeah, let me come on with people on the man.
Let me go and pack, eh?
Let me come off before I get put out.
Alright, guys, this is yours truly, Aaron 868. I remind you each and every time that culture is my code, and I always tell you that love is the currency, so spend some today. Let somebody know you love them, guys.
This is Ricardo Mitchell, the social stage on the global stage. Thanking you guys for joining us and sticking with us in the living room. Remember, the hourglass is opaque. We don't know how much time remains. Whatever you're doing, be good and stay safe. Take care of your mental health.
Yeah, Mr. Desmond is up next with the big band. Keep it locked.
But you really ain't right, by the way.